Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today, FHLBNY just filed an 8K revealing new debt obligations, and I'm seeing a quiet but important signal about their funding strategy. Quick note, this is not financial advice, just my take on public filings for educational purposes. They are essentially telling us about how much money they are borrowing, and it matters for understanding their stability. So this filing is a Form 8, which is like a current report for big news. The Federal Home Loan Bank of New York, or FHLBNY, is required to file these when something significant happens. In this case, the news is all about their debt. The report is dated the 22nd of April 2026, and it is about events that happened around that time. Now, FHLBNY is a bit unique. It is a federally chartered corporation, and its main job is to provide funding to member financial institutions like banks and credit unions. Think of them as a wholesale bank for other banks. You might be wondering how they get the money to lend out. Well, like many financial institutions, they raise funds by selling debt in the capital markets. This filing details some of that borrowing. The core of this filing falls under item 2.03, which is about new direct financial obligations. This means FHLBNY is taking on new debt. The filing explains that FHLBNY gets most of its money by selling what are called consolidated obligations. These are basically bonds and discount notes. The important thing to know is that these obligations are the joint and several responsibility of all 11 federal home loan banks. This means if one bank can't pay, the others have to step in. This is a key risk factor. It is also critical to understand that these are not backed by the US government. So, while they are regulated and have a strong backing from the associated banks, there is still a level of risk involved, just like any other debt instrument. Now, the filing refers to a Schedule A. This schedule is where the actual details of the new debt are listed. It covers bonds and discount notes that are committed to be issued. They exclude short-term discount notes, which are pretty standard for their day-to-day operations, but they do include longer-term ones. And any debts they might have taken over from other federal home loan banks. There is a note here that says while issuing debt is material to the bank, they are not specifically calling out any single debt issuance as being super important on its own. This tells us they view their debt issuance as a continuous, ongoing part of their business rather than a few blockbuster deals. Another point worth highlighting is that Schedule A doesn't include details on things like interest rate swaps or other financial tools they might use. These are often used to manage risk, especially when dealing with long-term debt. The fact that they are not detailed here doesn't mean they aren't happening, but it means this specific filing isn't the place to find that information. It is a detail to keep in mind if you are looking at their overall financial complexity. This is a really important clarification because Schedule A excludes short-term debt and doesn't show if new money is just replacing old money. You can't use it to figure out the bank's total debt level or how much their debt is changing. You'll need to look at their regular financial reports like their quarterly 10Q or annual 10K for that bigger picture. This filing is simply about announcing that new debt has been committed. Finally, they mention that the amounts listed are at par value. This means the face value of the debt, not necessarily what they actually received after considering any discounts or fees. So the numbers on Schedule A might be different from what shows up on their official financial statements. Again, this is a technical accounting detail, but it explains why the numbers might not perfectly match up with their balance sheet. Beyond the main disclosure of new debt, the filing also includes exhibits. Here we see the exhibit numbers and descriptions. Exhibit 99.1 is Schedule A itself, the list of the consolidated obligations. This is the critical part of the filing. Exhibit 104 is the interactive data file for the cover page, which is standard for SEC filings. Now, and then we have the signatures formalizing the filing. The signatures are from officials of FHLBN. The report is signed on the 28th of April 2026. This signature is from Eugene Kezin, who holds the title Director of Funding and Liquidity Management Treasurer. This role is directly involved in how the bank manages its money and its borrowing. So, what is the big takeaway here? FHLBNY is actively managing its funding by issuing new debt. This is a normal part of their business. But it is always worth noting when they are taking on new financial obligations. The fact that this debt is joint and several among all 11 FHLBs means that the financial health of the entire network is interconnected. While this filing doesn't give us a dramatic single number, it highlights the ongoing nature of their capital raising activities. It underscores the importance of looking at their broader financial statements to understand their total debt profile and to assess how well they are managing their liquidity and interest rate risks. It is a routine filing, but it's a reminder that institutions like FHLBNY are constantly in the markets borrowing money to operate and lend. Oh, and the research tools I actually use are linked in the description. They help keep this channel going. That is my take. Stay decoded. If this analysis was valuable, hit like, subscribe, and check Discord link below.